Okay, if everybody could please take a seat and we'll get the meeting underway. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I declare the meeting open. Good evening, member and guests. Welcome to the August TLCC General Meeting of the Total Land Cruiser Club of Australia. I'm Andrew Boyd, the TLCC President. On my left is our Acting Secretary, Norba Ferguson, standing in for Colin Morby, with Mark Willock, Treasurer, and Greg Norris, Vice President, also away touring this great country. If there are any new members here tonight, please put up your hand. Any potential new members? Welcome to the club. I hope you join and we'll have a long and enjoyable association with the club and all that it has to offer. These meetings now are live streamed to the TLCC YouTube channel. So you can watch via the club's YouTube page, and we encourage you, anybody who's watching online, and I believe there is a trip on at the moment, which is Colin Morby's Madigan trip. So we have people tonight watching this trip from the middle of the Simpson Desert. So it's technology at its best. I've actually just been with my wife and another group of club members just come back from a Simpson Desert trip. I've done the Simpson, this is my 5th time, and I'd have to say it's probably the best. The whole desert is in flower. There is water everywhere. You go over sand dunes and it's as far as you can see is yellow daisies. It is, I know it's short notice, if you can get there in the next month or two, it is absolutely spectacular. And I promise that at the next meeting I'll compose a short presentation, about 30 slides, and I'll share a little bit of what we experienced because it's probably one of the best trips I've done through there. We went from Burrsville across to basically Mount Dare and ended up in Alice Springs, and yeah, absolutely spectacular. Present is as per the attendance book. Apologies I have is Greg Norris, is Colin Morby, Brian Chisholm, Rob and Carol Alexander. Are there any more apologies for tonight's meeting? Chris Taylor, Gary Cooper, I did have Gary down, Mark Willock, Chris Chapman, Steve Curtis, the minutes from the previous meeting held on Monday the 3rd of July have been posted at the back of the room. Are there any issues, points that needed raising in those minutes? If not, can I please have a mover and a seconder to those minutes? Alan Kidd and Elkie Cooper. Announcements by the President. Toyota is doing a video of four-wheel drive training at Willaglen on the 19th and 20th and 21st of August. A number of our driver trainers, which I've been working through with Bob Fife, will be, I guess, the stars of that video. This video will be basically represent the club through both Toyota's social media channels and obviously their websites and things like that. So it will obviously be a great promotional activity for the club, and will also show off what the club's driver training program is. We're still working out the names of those individuals. We've got it down to 3 people with Bob's help. So, and Toyota is also making a significant donation, as I said, which will benefit the club. The club's Willow Glen property continues to get used by the services. I guess it's something the club does to give back to the emergency services. So the riot squad in their new 300s are using Willow Glen on the 19th and 20th of August, and also the 22nd and 23rd of August, with also the Police Driver Training Academy using that property in August, in October, in November and December. I'd also like to admit a vote of thanks to Norma for stepping in, taking tonight's minutes and assisting the club out. The TLCC has entered into an arrangement with the NBN to lease a small portion of the Willow Glen property for a telecommunications tower. They're paying a rental fee plus annual rate rises. It is on the corner of Millendale and Willow Glen Roads, and completely out of sight from our shed and anyone using the property. That's in the final stages of the agreements, and I'm not sure when the construction will commence. The club recently attended, thanks to Elkie and the volunteers, the MDC Market Direct Campers Open Day. So a big thank you to Elkie and the volunteers for assisting at that day. And I got a reply back from the general manager, said, "Hi Elkie, I'd like to thank you and the rest of the TLCC for coming on the day. Despite the windy conditions, we had an excellent day with plenty of new interest and foot traffic." And a reminder, the club's 55th anniversary is on the 2nd of November 2024. I know I promised this, but I will have more details at the next meeting, if not beforehand, online. Vice President's report is Greg Norris, his apologies. So at the moment we will invite Ian Campbell from GME and Ian to present all about GME to our club members. Please welcome Ian to the club.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to interrupt your meeting tonight. A little bit of information. I'm not going to bang on too much about GME being made in Australia, in Sydney. Although that and that are all made here in Sydney, which a lot of people don't 100% understand, but we have a production line. There's some images here in this video of the circuit boards travelling along through an oven which melts all the solder and puts them all together. And they're then broken in half and they split off to two different radios and various other things. So we do try and do as much in Australia as we possibly can. The bottom end of our market, campfire ones, if you like, handhelds and stuff like that, whilst we design them in Australia, they're actually manufactured in our Hong Kong factory because it's just a cost thing. We couldn't do it in Australia and keep it competitive with the Unidens and all the other bottom-end market stuff that's out there. But anyway, what I wanted to touch on tonight was rather less about the product, more about the procedure. We have a lot of people coming in through our service department and saying that people can't hear me. I can hear them, they can't hear me. Now, modern microphones, and this goes for GME as well as Uniden and Motorola and all of them, microphones are made extremely sensitive so that they don't pick up a lot of noise from around you, and the microphone part, the input part of a mic, is the size of a pinhead. Now, in those three mics there that you can see lit up, it's right at the very top of the microphone there. And if I talk down here, I will not be heard as well as if I talk directly into that spot. Now, what I want you to do is next time you're using your radio, have a look on your microphone and just identify where the audio goes in, where your voice goes in. And if you can keep that in mind when you're talking to anybody, you will be heard a lot louder and a lot clearer than if you talk to down here. Promise. Try it. See what happens. They deliberately do that so that a lot of ambient noise doesn't go through the signal as well as your voice. So just keep that in mind. Second thing, push to talk button, or PTT. Try and consciously push that all the way in before you start talking. When you've got your finger on the PTT button, it's not working yet. When you've pressed it about halfway down, it's still not working. It's not actually engaging until it's completely pressed. If you start talking before you've actually completely pressed the PTT button, those first few syllables, or half a word or whatever, or even a whole word, won't be transmitted. And it's amazing how much confusion that can put into a message when the very first part of it is missing to the person receiving it. So consciously think, all the way, now I'll start talking, because it's all the way in. So if you can just remember those couple of little simple things, I think you'll find that if you've been having trouble with some of your communications, that might solve those problems. So just keep it in mind. Again, doesn't matter if it's a Unidan or a Motorola or a GME, just keep those things in mind, when you are operating your radio, and you'll probably have a few less dramas. The only other thing I wanted to touch on tonight was safety and rescue. We also do a little pocket-sized beacon. Now, our beacon is waterproof, can be used boating, kayaking, jet skis and things like that, obviously four-wheel driving, etc. We supply them to the Snowy Mountains national parks down there, and they hire them out to their backcountry skiers and things like that, just in case they ever get lost, and they return them to the national parks when they get back safely, hopefully. But once you've purchased it, the purchase price is your last price. There's no ongoing monthly fees or joining fees or membership fees or anything like that. The purchase price is it. It has a 7-year battery life, so you leave it in the glove box or home in your backpack or wherever you might find it handy if you do get into trouble. And if you do get into strife, fire it off. It automatically sends a signal to Canberra, to the Maritime Safety Authority. It sends your latitude and longitude of the unit itself to them. They can work out where you are and organise the local SES or police or something to go and have a look at this particular location, and hopefully, if you're in strife, they'll drag you out. So, nice little Australian-made device that is easily put in a backpack or in the glove box of the vehicle, and it just might save your life. When they see that go off, they know something's wrong. They don't send you the bill for all the helicopters and things like that at the end of it. All we ask, if we could, it's just something that we don't do for everybody, but for clubs like your good self, if anyone ever does use one in a real-life situation, if they could get it back to us, we'll swap it for a free one, a new one, if we can get our hands on the old one. Because what we like to do is take it to bits and just have a look at what's happened to it over the storage time and its usage time and stuff like that, like real life type of thing. Like we can have simulators, we can simulate salt water, we can simulate vibration and wind and ice and snow and all that sort of stuff at the factory, but it's really good to get our hands on one that's actually been out there. So just keep that in mind. Hope it never happens, to be quite honest with you. It means you've been in strife. But just, you know, if you do ever have to use one, if you can get it back to us, we'll swap it over for a freebie. No problems at all. Okay. Any questions? Let's not bang on too much.
You said batteries last
7 years? Did you want to come up here?
No, he just wants to mic me up.
Okay. Here we go. You're on here.
You said the batteries last for 7 years. Are they replaceable?
Yes, but we replace them. The only reason I say that is it's not like taking the batteries out of a torch and putting your batteries back in. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon, I forgot. They are replaceable, but we do that because it's not as easy as taking the batteries out of a torch and putting new batteries in. What we do is we check that the frequency is still okay. We do a pressure test once we've sealed it back up again. Any seals or anything like that need replacing get replaced, and then we give it back to you. And we're worried that if someone ever did say we made one that people could replace the batteries, They put the batteries in the wrong way, they think they're okay, they go out, they get into strife, and the damn thing doesn't work because they put the batteries in backwards. Well, that's a fairly hefty price to pay. So when we've replaced the batteries and checked it, pressure tested it and everything like that, we fire it off in a test mode, and we know it's 100%, and if someone's ever going to use that thing again in the future, it's going to work for them as it should. And so we insist on changing the batteries. Yeah, cost, $180 plus GST, for what it's worth.
The club has two we're going to bring to you in November.
No worries. We'll do a deal.
While I've got the mic, I can segue a little bit here. If you do purchase one of these GME devices or hire the club's ones, we can set it, well, at the moment it's set up that the first point of contact will be the satellite phones that are packed in the club's case that we hire in conjunction with that. And the second point of contact will be somebody that, if you're doing a trip and have organised, you can register with Maritime Services your trip so they know your emergency contact, who can give them medical details, more precise locations, what sort of vehicle they're looking for, and they really appreciated when I got onto them in the last couple of months to organise that and get that, keeping that information loop closed. So that's another something to think about if you do purchase one, or something that...
it's an excellent add-on service.
Yeah, and it's all free, and they were very easy to deal with.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They encourage people to do it.
They do.
Because it saves them a lot of hassle in the long run.
In the long run. If they know what vehicle they're looking for, or what colour, or where they're likely to be,
Correct.
And what route they were taking. There is on the website somewhere you can put in your actual itinerary so that you can register your trip with them.
Yeah. The easier you are to find, the quicker you're found, which is good for you and good for everybody.
And if they've got a contact, emergency contact, your emergency contact on your trip should have your medical details and stuff, so they can have the insulin ready or whatever you require.
It's a good system.
It's a great system.
As I say, your only cost is your initial purchase price. Right down the back.
You got to play the music. What is it? How's it go?
Recce and I, some people might know that we work, or we do some volunteer work as search and rescuers with Bush Search and Rescue, which is part of the SES. And we have seen people who have activated these devices, and it has saved their lives. When we do the driver training in Module 3, we recommend that people have some sort of device that can allow them to raise an alarm. And one of the devices that we recommend is the GME one. For multiple reasons. We've seen it in action, we know they work, they're reliable, it's a once-off cost. Everything that Ian said there is absolutely true. Get out there, buy one. You just can't go wrong. It's a very, very good thing to have.
Anybody else? Anyone online? Down the back there in the comfort of their lounge rooms. Anything else?
Just one more question, Ian. Sure. I think we have one in our vehicle. I think you have to register with the Maritime Services Board or someone like that, from memory. It's been a while.
Maritime Safety Authority.
Yeah.
And you're located in Canberra. It's a free service. And all it is just that, sorry, keep on forgetting. The service is free, and you supply information to them, like contact phone numbers and things like that. So if the unit does go off, it has a UIN in it, which is a unique identification number. So when that unit goes off, they know it's your unit. So they'll have a look in the database. They'll have a couple of mobile phone numbers or home phone numbers, landlines, it doesn't matter. They'll try and contact those numbers to see if it's a genuine emergency or sort of get some intel and things like that. And then the result of that phone call, they'll then go into action and ring the local ECS or maritime or whatever, just depending upon where you are, local police. Flying doctors have been diverted in outback Australia to answer an EPIRB or PLB signal. So yeah, but it's a free service. You have to renew it every 2 years, but you have to update it every 2 years. The reason being is people on-sell them, or they stop travelling, so that the details of it are as up to date as possible. They ask you to renew or re-register every 2 years.
Do they give you a reminder?
Yes. Yes. Yep.
I have a question when you're done. Are you done, Ilke? Okay, so when you register those with the Maritime, can you advise them, for example, I have heart failure, so can you advise them in advance of your medical conditions?
Yes, there's room in the database for, I think, about 300 characters, so they tell me, of medical details. I'm very sorry. Yeah, so yes, you can do that.
And I'm sorry, I walked in late. Can you tell me how much are they to buy?
They vary in price, depends on where you buy them online, around about the $390 to $400 mark in round figures. Yeah.
It's a good price to pay for safety.
Well, yeah, I think if you didn't have one and you got into trouble, you'd certainly find $400 if you could buy one on the spot, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Here's my card, quick, give me one. Yeah, good exercise.
My question would be, I've got one, but it's from a different company at the moment.
No, forget it. No.
Yeah.
Not interested.
But the same principle. Do you have an instance, or do you have a story about when one goes off, what is the process? Because mine's all registered with telephone numbers and the like, but as you know, out back you got no reception. So, on mobiles. So if they try to ring my mobile number, and they're not going to get me answering it. So then what would be the next step? What do they do from that point?
Next step would be to have a secondary phone number of someone who wasn't with you, that may be a relative or something like that, who would know where you are.
Yeah, that's sure.
Next
but
door neighbour.
If I can't get to that relative or that friend and let them know that I have an issue and I've fired off my personal EPIRB, what would be the processes then? Because they may very well ring my neighbour, my aunt, my uncle, my friend, and they'll say, well, we haven't had any information from Carl, so we can't help you out. What would then be the next thing from Canberra? What would they then do?
What they'll do is they'll just verify with your neighbour or your auntie or your uncle or your relative that you are actually away, okay, and that you're somewhere out in the Simpson Desert, or you've been away for 3 weeks and you've got another 3 weeks to go, or just some really general information about your trip. And that would sort of tee up with where the signal's coming from. So they would then get in contact with, as I said, a local SES or police or whoever the closest asset to where your position is being recorded on, and they'd give them the coordinates, and they would go and either fly or drive or whatever to that location to see how you are and see exactly what the situation is. So the unit itself spits out your latitude and longitude to the satellites. The satellite bounces it back down to Canberra, and you appear on a big screen of a map of Australia of approximately where you are. Given, especially with the latter ones, it's an accuracy of less than 100 metres.
Yeah, I just thought that you're right in that sense. If you're in the middle of the desert, they won't send out the local car. They'll probably do a flyby with a chopper or a plane or something. Because there's a very well-known rescue that happened out in the Simpson Desert with a family in their truck when they got bogged up, and they fired one off, and then the first thing is they sent out an aircraft that did a circle, and they then dropped down a satellite phone, and it was from that point there they gave them instructions on the satellite and what to do. Correct. Yeah, that one's on a YouTube, and then they followed up with the story.
These days, I suppose satellite phones are probably more common in people's glove boxes than they were, say, 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, I guess. So people may fire off the EPIRB or PLB, but also make a phone call as well. Doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to get rescued, I suppose.
That's what it takes, yeah. Cheers.
If I was going back to what you're saying, there is on the website, the Marine Services website, you can register the trip, and each and every trip, and just you can jump in first, and I
You
think
have
that's a
a
great
sort of
idea.
rough timetable as to where you'll be when, approximately.
There is an online question here, comes from Jeremy Nolan. The question is, can this device be activated in an emergency situation, regardless of the location, even if it's densely populated?
Absolutely, yeah. Densely populated situation, in a densely populated situation, you're probably closer to police or ambulance on the ground or in sight of someone or something like that. But yeah, anywhere in the world, that would operate. If you went four-wheel driving in Southeast Asia or something like that, if you wanted to, it'd still work there. It's a global system.
Once you activate the device, how quickly does Canberra receive notification?
Depends upon the orbit of the satellites, but it's usually within about 60 minutes. It could be 2 or 3 minutes. What does happen is there's a constellation of satellites at about 900 kilometres above Earth, or low Earth orbit satellites as they call them, and first one will pick you up, the second one will pick you up and verify, and a third one will pick you up and verify, and then that information will be sent to Canberra, and that's how they get their accuracy. But it's usually no more than 60 minutes.
There's another question, a comment from myself here. If you are interested in knowing exactly how it works, there's a podcast called Rescued. It's done by a local Australian bushwalker, and she interviews a woman who works in that section of AMSA, and they answer all sorts of questions in regards to exactly how it works and what happens from the moment you press the button.
Yeah, it's very informative, that one.
Rescued
Quite a
is
good
the
one,
name
yeah.
of the podcast.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else? Everyone okay? All satisfied? Okay. Is that me?
Yep, thanks very much,
Okay.
Ian.
Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
And if any of you have got any questions, feel free to flick them on to myself, and I can table those through to Ian and get your reply. So if you just send me an email to info@tlcc.com.au, I'm sure Ian will happy to reply to those questions. And also be reminded, the club hires and does own 2 sat phones. Included in those, obviously, Pelican cases is an EPIRB, as Peter suggested. Peter is the custodian of those. For a small hire fee, you can take them on a trip with you. So you get the sat phone and an EPIRB, and Peter will assist you with basically setting those things up should you go on a trip. And I'd also like to admit a thanks to both Ian and GME, because they've donated some significant prizes for tonight's Lucky Door prizes. So thank you to GME. Treasury report, Mark. I just got a note from Mark. I have a detailed report, but his short report was, there is money in the bank and the insurance is paid. Okay, Mark advised the opening balance was $387,506.77. Receipts of $4,481, consisting of membership fees, merchandise shop sales, interest revenue, payments of $10,962.90, which included purchases of plant and equipment, various other expenses for Willowglen, $6,240, Coolandelly, $509, membership costs of $455, hall hire and meeting expenses and social function costs. The bank balance at the end of the period is $381,024.80. That's the end of the Treasurer's report from Broken Hill. Okay, now I'll put my third or fourth hat on for tonight, and it is Gary Cooper's education report. Basic driver training in July. Module 1 was held on the 9th of July. Modules 2 and 3 were conducted on the 13th and 14th of July at Willowglen. Weather was cold but dry. a good group of new members in aspects of both driving and social activity. 17 basic driver training certificates were issued. There were 10 driver trainers in attendance. Advanced Driver Training August. This course will take place on the 17th and 18th of August. There are 7 vehicles registered. The course is based on the number of vehicles, not participants. Basic Driver Training September. At the time of this report, 17 new members have booked in. Module 1 will be held on the 10th of September. Modules 2 and 3 will be held on the 14th and 15th of September at Willow Glen. Chainsaw course. This course will be held on the 21st and 22nd of September at Willow Glen. Dave Lamb and Wayne Back are the presenters. Bookings will open on the 10th of August. There is also Willow Glen maintenance working being held on the same weekend. Trip Leaders course. This was a roaring success last time. Gareth Davies' second Trip Leaders course for the year will be held on the 28th and 29th of September. Bookings open on the 17th of August. We are still hopeful that this may lead to an increase in the number of trips being run by club members. The new proposed course relating to the changing of CV joints in IFS and solid axles vehicles suggested by Matt Kinsella is still at the negotiation stage. Dates, times and the number of participants are still being determined. This will most likely be a one-day course. For those members interested in a sand driving course, negotiations are underway. We are hopeful of presenting this course sometime later this year. Generally speaking, we are always looking for new presenters for the TLCC courses. If you have a particular skill or hobby or interest that you would like to share with fellow members, please give me a call or send me an email. Contact details are in the magazine. Details and dates are on the website and in the CES. Regards, Gary. Thank you. Promotions report. Jason.
It's nice standing down here. Promotions, right. So, okay, so we've had our wonderful newsletter come out. So I'm sure a lot of you have received that, possibly by email. It's always good. You're not hearing me? Step closer. Our new advertiser, James Barood, coming on board. So he'll be on a full-page A4 ad, which will be nice. MDC, thank you, Elkie, for handling that one. From all reports, very successful, and you had a wonderful job with some wonderful volunteers. I was down Willow Glen, and it was quite disappointing. We were down there all excited, looking forward to lighting fires. Not that any of us like lighting fires. Anthony, I can see his little ears are pricking up. Fire, ooh. We couldn't light fires because it was too windy, which was a bugger. But we still got some things done. So MDC, yes, coming on board as well. So it's wonderful to have another new advertiser. Sydney's big four-wheel drive adventure show. Well in the role of getting things organised for that. I've had quite a few wonderful people offer their services to assist. I will be organising a little roster system for that to see if that will fit your schedule, or if you'd like to volunteer for a different time. I'm sure that we can work things out and slot you in to promote our wonderful club and the things that we have to offer. Beyond that, dates of that is the Friday 6th through to Sunday the 8th of September. So there's a few days and a fair bit of help required to do that, so I'm sure that we'll be able to have quite a few hands on deck to assist. Apart from that, that's all. But I'd also like to thank GME. You guys are awesome. That the prizes you've donated tonight is just brilliant, so thank you. And I certainly know when I purchase more things, it's going to be GME, and I think everyone here agrees. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Social Director's report. Debbie.
Make me stand up straight. Thank you. Hi, everybody. So first point on my agenda tonight, the rescheduled fireworks night is coming up later in the month, Saturday the 24th of August. I have my fingers and my toes crossed this time that we'll have clear skies. Bookings are going really well. We have probably 220 bookings at this stage. We're still with a couple of weeks to go, so that's really fantastic. I think we'll probably get to that 300 mark that we had for June. If you want to come along and enjoy our spectacular professional fireworks and barbecue dinner, go to the members zone of the club website and book in now. Bookings will be closing on Sunday the 18th of August. Second point is we've started the advertising for our October 26th Halloween weekend. Once again, Sarah Warren has offered to run this event, and I'm sure it's going to be frightfully fun. This weekend is all about families getting creative with their campsite decorations and then unleashing their inner monsters. The more freakish their attire, the better. It will be loads of fun as everybody gets involved with creating the scene for the kids to experience their most memorable trick-or-treat ever. It's a great event for the teenagers to really embrace. Once again, there will be Halloween-themed activities and games, plus time to socialise with other ghouls and goblins over drinks and nibbles before a delicious dinner is provided. All members are welcome to invite their friends and family to join them for this great event. We will be introducing a small charge of $10 per head for guests only, guests 5 years and above to adult. This event will remain free for members, their partners and their children 0 to 16 years. I'm feeling pretty excited and I hope to see lots of members coming along. Just a couple of other reminders, the Kids' Christmas at Coolandilly, Saturday the 23rd of November, and the Adult Christmas Dinner, Saturday the 14th of December. And I'll be away for the next couple of months meeting, so I'll see you all in November.
Debbie, I have a question in regard of the fireworks from the online audience here. So it's from Michael Venter. Michael asks, if we have registered a guest for the fireworks, will we receive any confirmation? Thank you.
Yes, they should have received an email confirmation. If they haven't, if they would like to make contact with me via social@tlcc.com.au and we'll follow that up.
Sorry, Deb. I've got a question. When we booked for Jason and ourselves, but we also want to bring guests. The guest booking feels a little bit confusing to me because we used to add our guests in on that booking.
Yes, it's different
We
now.
just do the separate...
on the events page,
Yep.
where you would typically go to book your own booking, further down that page it talks about what you have to do for guest bookings. So there's a hyperlink there.
Right.
So you should just be able to press on that hyperlink and it will take you to another page where you book in your guests.
What if I've already booked and I haven't clicked on that hyperlink?
You should be able to go back to the events page and click on it. But if not, on the main web page, if you open up on a desktop computer, there's a list down the side of all different things that you can link to, and one of those is guest bookings.
So
you
just
can
treat it like a normal guest
Yeah.
booking any other weekend?
Yeah,
Yep, okay, great.
yeah,
Thank you.
at this stage, yep,
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks, Debbie. Land manager report is an apology unless Gordon or Jason has anything from Willowglen or Coolandilly, or John.
Good evening, everybody. Since last meeting, we've had 2 working bees, one at Willerglen and one at Coolindilly. First of all, Coolindilly, we had a big flood there, which on the weekend we're supposed to have the fireworks, which destroyed everything that we'd set up for the fireworks, and quite a bit of damage around the property. So at the working bee, we sort of cleared up all the rubbish that was lying around, gathered up all our bunting and our star pickets and everything we still could find, and repaired the water pipe from the river to the tanks, which had been ripped up by the flood. And we got that done on Saturday, and we repaired the walking track to the K1, K2. There was a lot of debris in Halls Creek, which we pulled out all the dead trees that had fallen in the creek. And then we had to do a major sort of repair to the bridge because the flood had washed all the dirt away right up to the foundations. And we cleared that away and built it all up with rocks again and cleared out underneath the bridge. So there was quite a lot of work done. We had a good turnout of volunteers, which were very pleasing to see. Some new members and some of us old members. Now at the moment, the property is still in good condition. Anybody wants to go camping, anybody wants to go, it's all good. This weekend coming up, we have a working bee there again, which we will be setting up a bonfire again. But last time, it just took the whole bonfire and everything. There was nothing left. So we'll have to rebuild a new bonfire, a new bunting up, and new everything set up, ready for the fireworks. That's what's going to happen at Coolindilly this weekend. Now, Willerglen was 2 weekends ago, and again we had a good turn-up of volunteers, which we had every intention of doing a burn-off of all the piles of rubbish that have been picked up, for a year or 2 years now, I think. Anyway, the wind came up and it blew and it blew. It was serious. The fire brigade cancelled out. It wouldn't come because it was too dangerous. So we all left a little bit sort of disappointed. But anyway, we went out on Saturday morning, done some clearing of trees and fallen things around the driving tracks and a little bit of repair work where we could. On Saturday afternoon, the wind was that bad, we weren't game to go out. We stayed around the shed and cleaned up around the sheds. The wind died down a bit on Saturday night. And Sunday morning, we went out and checked all the tracks that we could track. And we all left by 2 o'clock, we were all gone home. So everything as we could do, we did. Thanks to everybody who turned up. Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon, and obviously thanks to all the volunteers who continue to attend both the working bees at Willerglen and Coolindilly. Membership, Alan.
That's it. Can't it go lower? Come on.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, membership keeps bubbling along. Since the last general meeting, we've had 11 new memberships with 11 vehicles. We've also had one returning membership. Less than 1,000 was the membership number. He's got 2 vehicles. We've had 2 membership renewals who had lapsed for a couple of years. So we're doing fairly well. We've got 879 total memberships now, which include 23 life and there are 265 email-only recipients for the magazine. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan. Four-wheel drive activities coordinator, Peter.
Hello, everybody. That'll work. We've got 8 trips currently listed on the website. Some of them have been there for a little while, so you should have seen them. But 2 new ones, a sunny corner to Turon, 28th and 29th of September. This one's run by Jamie Turnley. It has a very hard red-rated section in it, and he suggests it should be as much as the Pinnacle Fire Trail, which will be going along, is generally a reasonably easy track. He wants the trip rated as hard to very hard. The climb, I've seen some damage done there before, and it's going to be quite tricky. There is a go-round for those that, which is still a little bit tricky, and there's some cross slopes on that track as well. So he suggests that vehicles with high roofs and heavy roofs, probably not ideal. The other trip we've got coming up, Scott Jamieson is running a Willow Glen Explorer type trip next weekend. So it's a little bit short notice, so jump on that quick if you want to get onto it. And it'll be a casual drive around. Scott's got lots of experience at four-wheel driving, so it's a good chance to go down and practice your skills and get some good advice from members that know what they're doing. 3 trips were run during the last month. A last-minute Simpson with Colin Richards ran. That was limited to 3 vehicles and ended up only 2 going, but I haven't spoken to Colin since he's got back. But they would have had a great time and would have probably bumped into TLC members everywhere throughout the Simpson. Then there was the Killingworth that Matt Kinsella, the hard trip, and Family Glow Tunnel that David did. We've got reports for those that I'll introduce, but before that, Hugh Petersworld put up a little video, thanks John, that he put together from the trip that he was on that went out to the Simpson. That trip continued. There was a second half to that, and they made their way from, well, some of the people and some new people joined in, and then made that the crossing across the Simpson. The next trip report is Parasade's going to give for us, present for us. He's kindly put it together, and this was Matt Kinsella's one-day hard trip up into the Killingworth area, up towards Barrington, not Barrington, get it right. Yeah, just west of Newcastle there, whatever the Wattigans. I always get Wattigans and Barrington mixed up. Yeah, so up near towards the Wattigans. It was, I'll let you know what it was.
Good evening. Sorry, that's a wrong video. It's the other one.
Sorry, John.
Yeah, Killingworth. Okay, we met on a cold Sunday morning. It was about -5 degrees, and before that, it was raining for the last 2 weeks, so the conditions were not ideal for doing Killingworth track. But we had 6 cars turning up, and it was very cold. It was about -10, and anyway, we met at Cameron Park McDonald's, and we went on our way, and before we got to the entrance, we did a little climbing hill just to test out all the cars, make sure everything's working. So we did that, and the first damage was the Peter Williams on his 80s Land Cruiser. His muffler came off, so we spent quite a considerable time repairing his muffler, so we managed to fix that, and we were on our way. So it was, as you can see from the photo, it's quite muddy, and the little tracks and crossing were full of water. And it was very, very difficult conditions. Most of the track were very muddy and slippery. 90% of the climb we did, we had to winch ourselves up in order to get to the next destination. And on the website, I thought I haven't done a trip for 6 months, and I thought I'll do a trip because there was a vacancy in there, so I went in there and I read the track. It's rated difficult, and I didn't realize how difficult it was, because the way my car was set up, it wasn't set up for that kind of forward driving. Mine is just an Isuzu D-Max set up for touring with a normal 2-inch lift and a 32-inch tire, that's all. So, yeah, so and just to compound that, my winch didn't work that day. Anyway, so there was quite a few damage that day, like Peter's car, the muffler was damaged, and at the end of it, he had a front tire busted because he was the last one to cross the mud hole. I had some damage as well. I lost my the middle section of my bash plate. So when I got home, I was cleaning my car, and I couldn't find where it was. So I thought it would have been in that track anyway. So and another gentleman, Kurt's Land Rover Defender, he was crossing the river, a little river on the at the end of the track, and somehow he took the wrong way. He went in the middle, and he got stuck in it, and all the water got in his car. So we all got out, had to rescue him and help him, and so anyway, and so we managed to got ourselves out, and everyone was safe, and all the cars were in good condition to drive back home. And the story was before you sign up for any trip, just check with your trip leader. If you say it's difficult, just make sure that the trip suits your car, because I didn't realize that it didn't suit my car. So anyway, I was in there. It was impossible to go back by myself. It would have been. So I went with them, and I thank everyone that everyone was so helpful because of the training from the TLCC, and I thought I would like to do a refresh course again on doing the winch and doing the just using the rope and things, rescuing, because you haven't done it for 6 months or a year, you forget, because you don't do this every day. And so, yeah, so this is all. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you very much for putting that together, Parasite. It was an exciting trip all day. I walked away from it with a huge grin on my face. And it didn't even go away when the repair bill came. So, yeah, busting the tyre off the rim was, yeah, that was just a silly move. Too much right pedal, and the water was all deep. David put on the family glowworm tunnel, and I'll ask him to say a few words about that now, if we could. Thanks, David.
Thanks very much, Peter. Hi, good evening all. How are we doing? Good. So I ran my first trip, basically. Thanks, actually. I ran my first trip there just over a week ago. We went up to the Glowworm Tunnel, basically ran it as a family trip. And that was off the back of the trip leaders course that I did earlier in the year. Was mentioned earlier on, Gareth Davies ran that, put it together. It's a fantastic course. I hear that it's on again, and if there's anybody looking to step up to trip leader, it's a fantastic opportunity to just meet some people in the same boat and just have some fun out in the tracks. Watch out for Chris Taylor though, because every time you go out on the tracks, he's either injured or lost or broken down, and you have to grab him back to safety. It just wastes the whole weekend doing that. But what was it? Yeah, so the trip, we went up to the Glowworm Tunnel, met up at the Zigzag Railway, and as I was looking at the forecast getting closer to the day, I could see the temperature was just getting lower and lower. And I was like, I'm going to arrive up here and I'm going to be the only one there. And no, it was incredible. Like, there was 9 cars booked and all 9 cars turned up. There was no dropouts. And we actually got a flurry of snow just as we were leaving the Zigzag Railway car park. And I didn't realise how eventful that was for my young fella who was beside me in the car. My older guy couldn't go. He had a thing with the Scouts. But as soon as the young fella got home, he says, Declan, have you seen snow? No, I saw snow. So that was good. So then we went out to left the Glowworm Tunnel. Left the Zigzag Railway and went to the Glowworm Tunnel. That has been closed until recently. It only opened up again about a month ago. They did a bit of work on the road, the car park, but the biggest change is actually in the tunnel itself. I don't know if you remember it, but it was basically just rocks and puddles, and you make your way in the dark. But they've redone it, so it's actually got a path going all the way through now. Makes it all very civilized. But there weren't as many glowworms as there were when the last time I went, but there were still plenty. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, it was really good. Then we went off to the Lost City. into the northern lookout. We were supposed to have lunch up here, but it was freezing and there was a gale blowing. So we all got out of the cars and it's like, all right, guys, go around, take your photographs, back in the cars, we'll find somewhere else to eat. So we went on through there. We went up to Mayungu Maragu, which is where the Aboriginal hand paintings are, near Lansdale. So we went up through there. It's quite a nice spot. It's a nice little walk from the sort of road and picnic tables up there. And just finished up overlooking the Walgun Valley, where the road has collapsed and you can still sort of look into the valley and see the road that they now use to get down in there. There is still a campsite below there. If anybody wants to go to the Emirates, I'm afraid that's closed. You can actually still go down there. I'm not sure exactly what the procedure is, but there are some rules and stuff. But it was a really good day out. We had a bunch of kids turn up, and it was just a really fun, happy Sunday afternoon. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. That pretty much wraps it up for me. We only have the one trip this month. If anybody wants to put on something at short notice, I'm sure you'll get takers. And have a look at the website and the 2 new ones and sign on those as soon as you can. And have a great month. And I'll talk to you next month.
Just putting my driver training hat on for a moment. The chap earlier mentioned about refresher courses and so on. If you're feeling a little bit rusty or haven't just want to refresh yourself, you're always welcome to come back to the driver training weekend. Just contact Bob Fife and he'll organise it for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter, and thanks, Alan. General business from the members.
Good evening, everybody. In addition to what we, the club, normally has on offer at the table at the back, with the club shirts and jumpers and hats and beanies and wipes if you're going to the desert, we have on offer at the moment for a short time only, free to members, these tyre covers. Now, there was a little bit of a whoopsie in production, and they won't fit your very big four-wheel drive tyres. They will, however, fit a 245/75 by 16-inch wheel. They are free and they come in 2 colours, white and black. So if you'd like to have one, just come along and see me at the back of the hall. Thank you.
Any other general business from the members? General business from committee. Debbie? Peter? Norma? Alan? Jason? Just a couple of reminders from me. November meeting is at ARB Thornley. We'll get a booking form up. I'll arrange that with John in the next week or so, just for catering purposes. The club will probably do a sausage sizzle or pizzas or something like that. And I'll speak to Nick regarding what sort of discount they'll offer on the night. Also, as Jason mentioned, and Jason's down there, if you want to help at the Sydney 4x4 show, typically they're 4-hour rosters. Come and see Jason and give him your name and your preferred day, whether it's Friday, Saturday or Sunday. The benefit of going to the show is you basically can look around the show and you basically don't pay to get in. So, Jason and the committee would love your support because it's usually a very successful show for the club. And obviously Ian Campbell's here from GME. He has some gear down here obviously, GM always willing to answer questions on behalf of the club or you. So feel free after the meeting to come and see Ian. Sergeant at Arms, Leslie.
Good evening, everybody. Could I please ask Ian to come up and draw our raffle for us? Just remember, every ticket's a lucky ticket. Okay, so draw away. Okay, we have blue E73. Congratulations. Thank you.
It's an easy choice, this one. Thank you very much, sir.
Jason's, I'll get Ian and you together to get a photograph for our magazine. Thank you. Would you like to draw another one? Thank you. Oh, we have an orange F for Fred, 5. F5. Oh, we have a winner. Photographs. Oh, get back. You've got to have your moment in the sun. This will be on Snapchat. Yep. You get a sore arm by the time you've finished, you. Don't get your hands stuck in there. Thank you. This one is a green B for Bob 7. B7. I know, this is a lucky side, huh? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Choose whatever you want. Well, you're set if you get a flat out there, if you go forward driving with Peter Williams. It's all right, Pete, we love you. Okay, this one's a blue ticket and it's E3. E3. Blue ticket, E3. E3. Recce, you must be the luckiest fellow I know. I think you win something every week, every meeting. Okay, take your pick. What would you like? If anyone can rock that handbag, it's Recce. We have another blue ticket. E58, E58. Blue ticket, E58. E58. Oh, well done, honey. Thank you. Now you have to choose. We don't have any recovery gear yet. Gee, you look lovely with that gold phone. Okay. Thank you. It's a green ticket. And it's B for Bob, 57. Green B, 57. Yell bingo if you've got it. Bingo, we have a winner. Equaliser strap for everybody watching at home. And one more. Last but lucky last. It's a green ticket. B for Bob, 89. B, 89 green. Oh, congratulations, Debbie. You can make Marky's coffee in the morning. Or Mark can make your coffee. A big thank you to Ian from GME for all the wonderful prizes that they have donated tonight. And I'd like to personally thank all the club members that are buying the raffle tickets. And we're having fun putting the money back into the members. So keep buying tickets and we can keep supplying you with wonderful prizes. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie. I declare the meeting closed. Everyone have a safe trip home. We'll see you next month. Thank you.